Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my eyeshadow palette review for January. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is going to be the review with the six eyeshadow palettes that I tested out for you in January. I test out 5 or 6-ish new palettes every single month. Sometimes there's a bit more, depending what I either buy or what's out there. But yeah, in 2024, I did try out almost 100 eyeshadow palettes, which is crazy. But we're off to a good start. I bought most of these things either in the Black Friday sales or in the December drop from MONOLITH. So that is exactly what's going on here. And I just wanted to chat with you about all of these things that I've tried. First thing I want to show you is this guy. This is the Vintage Glam from Glossgods. This is one of their older palettes that was released a couple of years ago when they also did the new neutrals remixed, which is one of my favorite neutral palettes I have in my collection. And this is one I missed out on because I bought the new neutrals. It was like one of my first purchases from this brand. I had never tried them before, so I wanted to just test out the waters to see what they had on offer, so I actually picked another palette to be my second palette, and then this sold out and it didn't come back in stock until Black Friday, and I was super chuffed with this one. They did have a new release for Black Friday as well, but I have too many metallics in my collection as it is, so that wasn't interesting to me. But this purple dusty mauve / pinky peach vibe was very much something I still wanted to test out. Glossgods is one of my favorite indie brands for a couple of reasons. They are a little bit more affordable compared to other indie brands that will be featured here later, because their palettes retail for around the €40 mark. And then for Black Friday, when this was 30% off, I essentially got free shipping and still got money off. The shipping for this, for me, isn't super expensive because I am in the EU, and Glossgods is a Swedish indie brand, so they ship from Sweden, so for me, this is actually a bit more affordable than to get some of the other brands that I will be mentioning a little bit later. So this to me is a really good deal, especially because I bought it through Black Friday and got 30% off. I had early access. It was amazing. So I picked this up straight away because I just knew I was going to love this. And this is really, really good. When I did my eyeshadow palette ranking on Saturday with all of my purple palettes, I already included this. I think, was I wearing? No, I wasn't wearing a look with this, but I did 3 looks with this palette, pretty much a look per row. That's how I like to use my Glossgods palette sometimes, is that they kind of like spell it out and lay it out for you. And I just like that it was like a peachy pink row and then this really nice brighter purple row, and this is a little bit more dusty and neutral leaning. So you get a really nice array of purples with some like pinky peach tones in there. So there is warmth, but it does blend really nicely with the purples that you do get in here. And yeah, I ranked it in a number 2 spot because I had already tested this out and I was like, this is really good. This is the Glossgods formula I love. So I'm really happy that they brought this back because it is the only Glossgods palette that still made me go like, I knew that that was around at some point in time. I just never was able to get my hands on this one per se, so I'm glad to now have it. My Glossgods family is now complete for what I wanted to have from the brand, so unless they come out with something really new and exciting, I will not be picking up anything new from them in the meantime. But yeah, the Vintage Glam is really stunning. It has good shades. It's the Glossgods formula I know I love, and I just think the looks I did with this were super, super successful. So this was a really, really good start to my January palette review. Less good start to my eyeshadow palette here in 2025 were these 2 bits from Colourpop. So I got the So Elemental and the Twilight palette also in their Black Friday sale. So I think these were 20 or 25% off. So I don't mind it for that reason. The So Elemental was still a little bit on my wish list because these bluish gray shades looked totally up my street. But what both of these palettes have, and I didn't know this going into it because I hadn't heard anyone mentioning this in their reviews, but there's quite a few like chunky glittery shades. When you touch them, it very much is reminiscent of the pressed glitters that Colourpop used to do when they first started launching their monochromatic palettes. So when I swatched these, I was like, really? Now that I've used it on my eyes, I can tell you that it is a different formula from a traditional pressed glitter. I had no issues working with them. I didn't have any like issues with fallout or things not sticking down, and they removed very easily at the end of the day. So the user experience in the end isn't as terrible as I had expected. I just felt that this was a bit limiting. I had just wanted a little bit more from this than I ended up getting. So as pretty as this looks in the pan, I just feel that some of the shimmers don't really translate the way I'd want it to. There are some nice mattes in here. I kind of bought it to have this go with the Cloud 9 to get some more depth out of that. Because essentially, if you have the Cloud 9, I don't think you need this. And the Cloud 9 doesn't have the weird glittery shimmer. So if you're a contact lens wearer, or if you're very, very finicky with your eyeshadow, you may not love this, so I just want to throw it out there. As I mentioned, it worked fine. It didn't fall down my cheeks. It was absolutely okay in the end, but it's just a bit of a letdown because it just feels like Colourpop has gone back in time with their formula compared to like doing something new and exciting. And as stunning as this palette is, because I was very happy with the looks I created with the Twilight palette, this, I feel, falls into a similar vein. This has a lot of really beautiful shades in. This taupey brown shade is one of the best taupe shimmers I now have in my collection. So just for that shade alone, this palette is going to stay around for a while because I really like that. I like the green look I did with this because that forest green shimmer is really, really pretty. There's quite a few gray leaning shades in here, so it is a more colorful, muted gray tone color story, which makes it greatly cool toned, which we love on this channel. But here as well, there's these two shimmers in the top, which, like the So Elemental, have this really gritty texture to it, and I didn't love that. It does go with Twilight. I mean, we have Sparkling Edward, of course, so these like toppery shades at the top make a lot of sense. It's just that I felt that if the formula was a bit different, I would like this a lot better. Were these pretty shades? Yes. Was I able to pull some really interesting looks out of it? Also, yes, this was very much up my street. It's cool tone, but it's colorful at the same time. So it is like the best of both worlds, you could say. So I did enjoy using my Twilight palette. But I can already tell you right now, like when I do rankings this year of all the palettes I try in 2025, this is not going to make it into the top 10, and neither will the So Elemental. And then the next three palettes I have tried out for you are all from MONOLITH. This one, which is on my eyes, which is by Wicked Widow Beauty, is actually a PR gift from them. So in case you're unaware, I'm affiliated with MONOLITH. They are an EU reseller of US-based indie brands. They also stock some UK and Australian brands, but they are my go-to partner in crime, you could say, to find things like Bella Beauté Bar and Fantasy Cosmetica. And they sent me things in PR sometimes. I do have a code with them, which is 5% off if you use my code, which I'll pop here on the screen. It's going to be active for the next couple of days, but they have their next launch on Sunday. So on the 2nd of February, they will be restocking. It will be their first restock launch event of 2025. They last did one, I think, in the first half of December. So it's been almost 2 months since any new products have been listed on the website. And so that can be a good thing. I have already seen that they have already like created the website for the sale. So all the products that they are certain you can already buy are already listed on the website. They're just not for sale yet, but you can have a look. My code will deactivate a couple of days in advance of the sale and a couple of days after the sale. So if you want to use my code and make sure you get the discount, and well, I think you still get the discount, but I don't get the commission. I think that's how it works. So if you wait like 3 days until after the sale, that's how you can also help out the channel. So that's something that I leave up to you. If there was anything you were eyeing up, then checking out Monolith on Sunday is going to be the best time to get a lot of things. I heard they're going to restock the Poison Garden, which is one of my top 10 favorite palettes of 2024, and they just give you much better access to things like indie brands if you're in the EU, and you don't have to pay for all the shipping and handling fees that you normally would if you bought any of these from the official website. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that also this palette, which I'm going to leave till the end because it's the look I'm wearing today, that they do sometimes send me things and that I am affiliated with them, but I still buy things with my own money. So that's pretty much how I was like even made aware of this. You guys told me about Monolith, and I had been buying from them for about a year until I became affiliated with them. So that's only been like a thing for about 6 months now, but they seem to like what I'm doing because they want to keep me in the affiliate program. So that's thanks to you guys as well. Because if you wouldn't use my code and you wouldn't be buying products from them, then of course I would be kicked out of their program really easily. But yeah, a brand I was still very curious after was Drun. I believe this is a content creator who started her own brand. This is the Witch of the Wildflower palette. And this came out for, I think it was Halloween time this year. It always takes a little while for products to get to Monolith. That's the only downside, because I think they order it once they can get it from the brand, and then whatever their next restock is going to be is when they will list the product. But very often, the listing on Monolith is like a couple of weeks, sometimes close to almost 2 months later than when the brand actually launches these products. So I think that's what happened with this as well. But I picked this up in December. I really like the shades of this. It's like brighter pinks and purples with some murky shades and then these warm tones. You get 3 shimmers, and the middle one, I don't think you can see really well here, but it is a split pan, and it is a flaky split pan. So there are 2 shades of flaky in the same pan. And what I don't like about it is that you only get a little bit of the orangey tone and you get more of the blue tone. Could you mix them together? Yes, but I did use them separately, just so you know. And I just stuck to the colors that are in here for the looks I created. I did the purple look with like the bluish tone in the middle, and then I did the greeny warm toned look with the other side of the flaky pan. So that way I had 2 really beautiful looks. This was really nice quality. I can't fault it. Does this now mean that I want to try all the Drun eyeshadow palettes? The answer is no. I've tried them. I like this. I think this adds something unique to my collection, but this is not necessarily a brand where I'm now like, I need to buy everything they do. And then I also played with this. This is the Harvest of Souls from Fantasy Cosmetica. This is their first 16 pan palette. This was released for Halloween. I believe if you're in the US that the brand is actually bringing this back. It should relaunch, I think around this time actually. It should be coming back now because this was in such high demand that even though it is supposed to be limited edition, so get it while you can, you could say, this isn't going to be around for a long time. And the reason why I wanted to pick this up is because this looks like the ultimate grungy, murky, yet colorful color story that you could possibly find. It's got like bluey teals, greens, and purples with some warm tones in. We all know that blue, green, purple, that's my favorite color story. But if you make them murky like this, we're going to be best friends. You know what I mean? So I do really enjoy the color story of this, but what I had not expected is how bright some of the shimmers in this would pick up as. Once I applied a lot of the shimmers, there wasn't like the level of depth that I had expected just looking at them in the pan. So the shimmers are all quite vibrant, which is a good thing. There are a couple of things here that are a little bit more flaky. I also tried the Enchanted Autumn that they did in collaboration with Makeup Just for Fun in the fall time as well, and that one I didn't like because I felt everything was very hard pressed and it wasn't the quality that I was used to from Fantasy Cosmetica. But I'm happy to report to you that this is the Fantasy Cosmetica quality that I've come to know and love them for. Fantasy Cosmetica is another one of my favorite indie brands, and the fact that they are available on Monolith makes it so much easier to buy, because the Druid palette, which I still have in the old packaging, that one I got from the original, like the official website, and that cost me an arm and a leg. This one is, because it is 16 pans, a little bit more expensive than the regular 9 pans from Fantasy Cosmetica, but nothing here feels super superfluous. I did 2 looks with it. I did the greeny blue shades together, and I did the warm tones with the purples. I really liked the juxtaposition of those shades on my lids. It was really easy to work with. It's really blendable. The shimmers are impactful and really easy to apply as well. I experienced no fallout, and I really thought that the shades, once on, looked really nicely together. And I love how you can use this palette in multiple ways. I went with these shades and these shades this time round, but you can very easily make this quads. I think that if you put these 8 shades together and these 8 shades together, you would also get a really good look. So I also love the layout and how there is like enough shimmers to go with the different mattes. It does have enough depth with shades like these 2 here, but I wish that there was just something a little bit here that brought it together a little bit better. So again, not my absolute favorite, but I do think the color story is interesting from like compared to everything else that I already have. It's just that because these shimmers looked a lot brighter once I applied them to my lids than they look on in the pan, I was just thrown off a little bit, but it doesn't knock it down. It's still really good quality makeup. And finally, the Wicked Widow Beauty Tales of Terror, A Haunting. I think this was also a Halloween release, but I'm not sure what happened here because I even saw this palette not even being talked about until the end of November, which is a bit late for Halloween, so I'm not sure if this was just supposed to be their like winter, December holiday drop. I'm not sure what happened there. And MONOLITH just put it in my order when I bought the other 2. They were like, here you have a free palette. And I was like, thank you. Would this be something I would pay for with my own money? No. And we can all tell why. It's got a lot of orange in. It's very warm leaning, and that's not something I tend to gravitate towards a lot anymore. Is this a beautiful fall color story though? Yes. Had I tried Wicked Widow Beauty before? No. So does this have merit in my makeup collection? Is this something that I'm now very grateful for that I got to try it? Yes. And the reason why I'm super grateful that I got to try it is because this is really good quality makeup. The mattes in this, super pigmented. A little goes a long way. Like the only thing I did with the orange that I ended up using in the crease or the green that's in the crease today is that I just like tapped my brush in, stamped it on, and then blended that out. And then I used the lighter shades that sort of correspond to those 2 to blend it out and make that work. This shimmer especially is really interesting because it looks like a boring bronze shade, but it's actually a multi-chrome with green and pink in. The only thing I'm missing in this palette is a really good inner corner highlight. That's the only downside here, so I ended up going very randomly for the purple in the first look that I did, and then in the second look, which I'm wearing on my lids today, is sort of green and purple focused. I ended up using these 2 greens on the lower lash line with this one in the inner corner, and they pull very yellow on me. I'm not sure if you can tell from the lighting here, but maybe in the close-ups, you can see that they have a very strong yellow base that really comes through. So even though they look like greens in the pan, they pull like yellows on my skin tone, which I didn't love. The purples are great, these murky greens are great, and I think that that juxtaposition of the purples with the greens, which is something I also achieved with the Harvest of Souls I was just talking about, is really beautiful. But the standout look I did with this isn't the one that's on my lids today. It is actually that orange toned look. Because this orange shimmer, like it just looks like a straight up orange shimmer in the pan, but it's got pink and yellow shifts. So again, it's like a really beautiful multi-chrome, and I felt really beautiful wearing that really intense, vibrant orange look. It's not something I tend to go for. I definitely feel it washes me out if I look at the pictures of me like a little further away. I always take pictures of the close-up looks, which I use for the video, but I always have like a couple of pictures of myself like full face just to see what the whole thing looks like, and I feel that these oranges really drain me. But if you just see it with like a bit of black mascara and my brown eyes and my slightly darker brown, I think it looks fine. It looks really good. So This is a really nice sort of gothic-y inspired color story, a great, really fun Halloween palette. Not something I would pay for with my own money, but it's really, really good quality makeup. So if this color story is to your liking, I don't think you would regret buying this if you like really incredibly pigmented shadows and interesting shimmers. Thanks so much again to MONOLITH for sending me that palette my way. As I mentioned, they have their next drop on Sunday, so if there was anything you were looking to pick up, then that can be a good moment. Just wait a couple of days if you want me to also make some money off your order. Because that's definitely what's going to happen. But yeah, you can always use my code on MONOLITH, even if there isn't a drop, if there's just products on there that you like the look of and it makes sense for you to make that purchase, then you can. So thanks so much for joining me here today. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more by me. I make several videos every single week, so if you'd like to stay tuned for more, and then I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!